Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so have you ever looked at a truly masterful drawing and just wondered how a few simple graphite strokes can completely trick the human eye? It's honestly fascinating how ordinary two-dimensional flat lines can construct these complex, realistic worlds and do it without needing any expensive tools. It all really comes down to understanding the mechanics of visual illusion. And today, we are going to unpack exactly how that transformation happens. So, how do flat drawings actually become these realistic worlds? We often look at a breathtaking portrait or, a sprawling landscape, and we just assume the artist was born with some unexplainable magical genius. But here is the real secret. Art isn't magic, it's mechanics. Today, we're unpacking 10 specific, totally learnable, practical techniques that will completely level up your visual arsenal and prove that absolutely anyone can master this craft. Section 1. Bringing flatness to life. Shading and texture. Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to introduce our first set of tools that are designed to build depth and pull a drawing right off the page. To build that incredible depth, our very first technique is cross-hatching. Instead of just coloring an area in with a heavy, flat block of graphite, artists from Da Vinci all the way to modern comic illustrators draw layers of intersecting lines. It's really all about proximity. The closer you layer those crossing lines together, the deeper and darker the shadow becomes. Spacing them farther apart creates your lighter areas. It's just a beautifully simple trick to add really rich detail without muddying up the page. Next up, we have stippling. Now imagine rendering an entire, complex landscape using absolutely nothing but thousands of tiny individual dots. Crazy, right? Well, like the famous pointillist painters, density is your shading tool here. By clustering thousands of tiny dots closely together, you literally force the viewer's eye to optically blend them into rich, deep shadows. Yes, placing all those dots together undoubtedly takes a great deal of patience, but the more dots you cluster, the darker and more incredible the results become. Moving on to technique number 3, which is blending. Do you want the hyper-realism of incredibly smooth skin, or maybe some soft, atmospheric clouds? If so, you have to break down those harsh pencil lines. You can use a specialized blending stump, a simple tissue, or even just an ordinary cotton swab. Basically, you want to use anything that creates lifelike soft transitions while helping you avoid that dreaded accidental graphite hand smudge we all know too well. Smoothing things out like this gives your work a beautifully polished photographic finish. Our fourth technique is 3D shading, and this brilliantly illustrates how mastering the mechanics of light changes everything. By perfectly mapping out your highlights, midtones, core shadow, and reflective light, a flat, two-dimensional circle suddenly pops off the page as a realistic, living, tangible sphere. It's this exact, careful balance of light and shadow that gives your art that undeniable 3D volume. Section 2. Seeing the world differently. Observation and accuracy. To actually draw better, you really have to train your brain to start seeing shapes in a totally different way. Which brings us to technique 5, negative space. To draw accurately, you don't just change what your hands are doing, you have to train your brain to stop seeing objects. Instead of obsessing over the vase you're trying to draw, you draw the empty space completely around it. It's a surprisingly simple trick, but it drastically improves your accuracy because it bypasses the logical side of your brain that thinks it knows what a vase looks like, forcing you to see the raw geometric reality right in front of you. Technique 6 is contour drawing. For this one, I want you to try slowly, and I mean very slowly, tracing the outer edges of a subject with your eyes, while your hand mirrors that exact movement on the paper. Your eye and your pencil need to become perfectly synced. This intense hand-eye coordination rewires your observational skills and helps you create highly accurate, precise, and deliberate outlines, rather than rushed, messy approximations. All right, our 7th technique is grid drawing. Now, far from being just a beginner's crutch, grids have been used by professional artists and master painters for centuries to accurately scale massive frescoes. By breaking an intimidating, complex picture into smaller, manageable squares, you isolate the visual data. It helps beginners copy difficult subjects with total confidence, giving you perfect proportions every single time. Section 3, freeing your inner artist. Flow and confidence. Now we're going to shift the energy a bit to focus on expressive techniques that really help you relax, capture raw energy, and just completely let go of perfection. We've mastered structure and accuracy, so now let's capture that raw energy. Technique 8 is the one-line drawing. I've got a challenge for you here. Try to draw an entire picture without ever lifting your pencil from the paper. Once the tip touches the page, it stays there until the whole thing is done. This continuous, unbroken flow completely stops you from over-erasing and second-guessing yourself, which immediately improves your hand control, your confidence, and unlocks a really unique kind of creativity. Technique number 9 is gesture drawing, and this one is all about velocity. Artists will often spend just 30 to 60 seconds on a single pose. When the clock is ticking like that, tiny, insignificant details simply don't matter. You are actively prioritizing action, movement, and flow. You have to capture the core line of action immediately, which injects this massive amount of life and cinematic movement right into your artwork. And rounding out our list at number 10, we have doodle art. Now listen, doodling isn't just something you do to survive a boring meeting. Also known as automatic drawing, this is where you let combinations of random shapes, tiny intricate designs, and repeating patterns just naturally grow and expand across the page. It is not just incredibly fun, it's a highly relaxing way to bypass perfectionism and let beautiful artwork naturally grow while your subconscious completely takes the wheel.
Section 4. The masterpiece awaits you. Start drawing today. Let's bring all of this together by reminding ourselves that you absolutely do not need to be born a natural artist, because every masterpiece simply starts with simple lines and a bit of practice. So, what does this all mean for you? Well, you now have 10 incredibly powerful tools in your arsenal. You can go from the calculated, rich depth of cross-hatching all the way to the rapid-fire kinetic energy of gesture drawing. The only question left is, which technique will you try first? Leave a comment below with your choice, make sure to subscribe for more explainers just like this one, and go grab your pencil. I'll see you next time.